Welcome to the Finding Wendy Podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Limbertie, joined by my regular co-host, Alison Pizanie, or occasionally a special guest. This podcast is your go-to source for education, motivation, and inspiration about intermittent fasting and other health practices, whether you're just starting out or already an experienced practitioner. The information shared in this podcast is intended for educational and motivational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Before making any changes to your health practices, medications, or fasting routines, we strongly recommend consulting with a qualified healthcare professional. Our mission is to inspire and empower you to explore intermittent fasting and adopt healthier habits with a balanced and well-informed approach. Remember, your health and safety are our top priorities. So always seek guidance from trusted medical experts. Thank you for joining us. Now let's dive into this episode and start your journey to better health together. Okay, welcome back everybody, and thank you so much for listening to Finding Wendy, our journey to wellness. I can't believe it. It's already podcast number 17. Happy 2025, everybody. Happy New Year. Hi, Alison. Alison is here with me and fresh off the boat. And we're going to talk about that today in our podcast. But let's just do one little thing here first off. You know, I was thinking and watching the ball drop in New York and all sorts of different New Year's Eve programs on TV. I was alone here at home, and everybody was talking about New Year's resolutions. Do you have a New Year's resolution? And so I just wanted to start off the bat and ask you, Alison, do you have any kind of New Year's resolution?
Okay, so well, Happy New Year. Thank you for having me. I don't have any hard New Year's resolution. I try to stay away from that, but I have a couple of intentions going into the new year. And basically those are just to take care of myself and to remember to include a little joy in my everyday and, get out and walk a little more and stay focused on some of my health goals. What about you?
Well, I saw this quote, and it was a quote that I saw from James Clear from the Atomic Habits. And the quote was, "I must change my life so I can live it, not wait for it." And, that diet brain thing and that, I can hardly wait till I fit in this size jean or this shirt again, or it's that waiting to have something change that I think creates a lot of stress. I mean, now is not the time to go to the gym at all because it's packed with people, and in a month it will be empty again because New Year's resolutions don't stick. They really don't. But it's like what was the word that you just said, that you have more, not
like an intention,
an intention that you just say, okay, stop thinking about, I'm going to do this or that if I lose this much weight, or if I'm able to walk again, I want to do this or that. I do have a trip goal that I would like to go to Amsterdam and Paris. But in order to do that, I need to be able to walk better. So that kind of is like a New Year's goal instead of a New Year's resolution, I'd say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah. It's all about mindset.
Definitely, it's about mindset. So this is going to be a great podcast because today we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting during the holidays, vacations, and other special occasions that everybody's had and you and me have had. And so let's talk about Christmas, Alison. So how did you celebrate? What was your eating window like during the Christmas on Christmas Day? Let's start with that.
Yeah, let's start with just Christmas Day. So Christmas Day for us was very quiet. It was at home. I had just gotten back from our family cruise. So we really had no plans, but I did have a slightly longer eating window on that day. And I was kind of like, I was feeling a little like ready to get back on track, even though it was a holiday and a special occasion. Um, we'll talk about this in a minute, but I had just gotten back from my cruise where I had really long windows and a lot of, I was eating a lot of foods that weren't in my normal routine. So I was kind of ready just to like have a nice, quiet, relaxing day, unpack, and get back to my fasting windows.
And did you like the Christmas Day? Did you have like eat the whole day from 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night?
So I probably had about like a 10-hour window.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get up. My kids were here. They have like a cinnamon bun tradition on Christmas morning. So we had some cinnamon buns, and then we had a dinner reservation that was canceled. So we really had no plans for dinner. We ended up having some leftover Chinese food from the night before.
Okay.
It was
Chinese
not
is
your
always
typical-
great. Get
Not your
that
typical
MSGs
Christmas.
in. Get those MSGs in. Yeah, well, that's amazing because for me, it was like a 10-hour window as well. And starting around noon and finishing at 10, I spent Christmas Day with my sisters and her kids here in Toronto. And we had like a late brunch. And the late brunch, I actually posted pictures of what we ate on my Instagram, and I hope everybody follows me on Instagram. I made like a little video of, we have in Holland a traditional bread that's called Christmas bread or kerstbrood. And it's a bread that has a lot of raisins in it, and in the middle is marzipan in the middle.
Oh, that
And it's
sounds
very,
delicious.
very similar to the German, there's a German version of it, and it's called Stol.
Okay, I've heard
German
of that.
Stol,
Okay.
Stol or Stoll. I don't know how to spell it. And my sister makes a really nice broccoli quiche.
Mm.
And then we have croissants, but I didn't have any croissants because it's just, too much food.
Right,
But
right.
but just having that and then having a nice cup of creamy coffee, as you call it,
Hmm.
and some fresh orange juice. And yeah, but that was around 1 p.m. So I had been fasting the whole night through till 1 p.m.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And so that was okay. And then I had one glass of wine with my dinner. We had a full turkey dinner, and that was really nice, and lots of presents, and the whole la 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 la. And then we on Boxing Day, our whole family celebrates together, and then I drove to Napanee, which is a 4-hour drive east of Toronto, halfway between Toronto and Montreal. And so sorry, I'll be coughing a bit because I have some asthma happening here. Yeah, so then we drove to my sister's in Napanee, and it was like, cheese trays and snacks and have you ever had melted camembert brie with cranberry sauce?
Oh, yes. So delicious.
Cheese, I could live on cheese. It's
Me too.
so the cheese and crackers and the full Christmas dinner. And do you do this at Christmas, by the way, this British tradition of pulling crackers? The crackers that you pull apart and they
Oh, no.
make
I've seen them,
yeah.
but no, I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
bought
I
them
don't know. I think my youngest sister started this tradition because we didn't have it growing up. But my younger sister started doing it, and then we all wear these silly paper hats, and you have to cross your arms and then pull each other's cracker,
Oh,
and
what's
then
inside?
just like a little toy, and then usually a little funny rhyme or joke or something like that, and then this silly paper hat. And so you wear the paper hat throughout the dinner. That's it.
Oh, that's cute.
That's
That
what
sounds
those
fun.
it's a lot of fun because it's first of all, everybody trying to figure out how to cross your arms and hold each other's crackers. And you go 1, 2, 3, pull, and whoops, I hit the microphone, and you pull the crackers apart. And there's kind of like do you know, growing up in the 60s and 70s, we had these little toy guns with caps in them, and
Yes.
yeah. So it has a cap inside, so it makes an actual cap sound.
Oh, fun,
And
celebratory. Yeah.
yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun for Christmas tradition. It's just fun to do. To start off your Christmas dinner, and then do your prayer if you pray or whatever, and just say your thoughts of the people that aren't there anymore, which my parents aren't. And yeah, it was very nice,
That sounds so much fun.
I didn't drink any alcohol at all on Boxing Day. I just drank a lot of water and coffee and tea, and that's about it.
That sounds great. And I wanted to just interject since you brought up like hydrating and drinking water. And I don't think we've talked about this before, but hydration is really important. And if you've had bariatric surgery, I don't know how it is for you, Wendy, but for me, in the beginning, we were advised not to eat and drink together for like nutritional reasons, right? You want your body to be able to absorb all the protein and the food that you're eating and everything. But when you're a few years out, I think you can eat and drink together if you would like. But for me, it's very uncomfortable. It's almost painful for me if I eat and then try to drink some water. So just a little bit of a side note for anyone out there that struggles with eating and drinking together, make sure you hydrate during your fasting window as much as you can. Because if I have, a shorter eating window, or maybe even like a 4 to 7 hour window, I'm not going to be able to hydrate as much during those hours once my window opens. So, you don't want to force fluids during your fast. Do what's comfortable, listen to your body, but make sure cheers, make sure you're hydrating.
I'm drinking water right now for those that aren't watching the video. I always have a big bottle of Soda Stream beside me here at the desk at my office. And which is my dining room / exit to the balcony, whatever. But yeah, no, I actually don't. I drink a lot of water at night when I'm on the couch to make sure I don't snack. And I don't generally drink anything during my window. I'm just eating. It's true. I never really thought about that because I did have some wine, but I am a really cheap date. Anybody who wants to date me and take me out for a date, I'm available. I'm single. Yeah, I'm a really cheap date because I sip wine. My sister or my family can finish 2 or 3 glasses and I'm still on my first. And I usually only drink one. So because I'm taking really small sips, I can do it together with the meal. But this constriction for those that have not had bariatric surgery, we have a very small stomach. It's the size of a baseball, basically. If you fill it with water and then try to eat, you can't eat. So you have to choose. That's why they say don't drink and eat at the same time after bariatric surgery, because you're basically, the uncomfortable feeling you're feeling is that you're filling your stomach with water, and it takes a little bit of time for that water to go through your system before you have room again to eat. So we have a small eating window, so eat, and recently, actually, I've seen an awful lot of news about how we're drinking too much water.
Me too. I've seen that as well.
And so I end up usually drinking 2-liter bottles of water a day, 2 of the Soda Stream bottles. I fill it twice.
Okay.
And I have a bottle beside me on the couch to watch TV, and I have a bottle here at my desk. So if you get a Soda Stream, I can highly recommend that you buy more than one bottle to go with it. Buy multiple.
Yes, we have that as well, the Soda Stream. Those come in handy. You kind of sparkle it up and keep it in the fridge handy, and it's good to have.
So speaking of water, a lot of water, you went on a cruise.
I did.
Where the heck did you go? Tell us all about it. And I'm totally jealous because I'd love to do a cruise once again. And I'll talk a little bit more about my cruise at the end of this podcast. But yeah, tell us where you went, where you started, where you flew to, and then, everything. Go.
Okay, so we decided this year we were going to take my boys on a trip. I have 2 sons. Reed is 21 and Brady is 15. And we decided we're going to make some memories instead of buy all the Christmas gifts because they're hard to buy for as they're getting older. And I just said, let's go away instead. So we flew.
And your wife?
And my wife, Kim, joined us. This was actually our first. Shame on me.
Shame on you. Don't forget to mention your wife.
This was actually our first like real family trip. That usually I'll take my boys to my mom's in Florida or a little weekend getaway, but Kim usually babysits the dog in the house. So this is the first time all four of us were together. We did have separate cabins, but we were together for the whole time.
You mean the boys were together?
The boys had their cabin. Kim and I had ours.
Oh, party time.
Yeah, the parents had their free time at night for sure, which was fun. You have to have a balance, right? And that was a good way to do it. And since Reed's 21, he could have his own cabin. Of course, mom paid for everything, but we flew out of Philadelphia to Miami, spent the night there, and then left out of Miami cruise port the next day. We traveled just around the little peninsula to Key West on the first day. We had a fabulous day there. We saw all of the sights in Key West. And then we, that night we left for Cozumel, Mexico. Now in Cozumel, the weather was great, but when we went ashore, we went off the pier at about 2 p.m. It was like a later port. They advised us that our excursion was canceled because of high winds and the snorkel part of the excursion would not be able to be safe for us travelers. So we had to cancel. And unfortunately, they canceled too late. We were unable to rebook anything. So while we set foot in Cozumel, we didn't see much. So we went back to the boat. We had a great day by the pool. Then we went, we had a day at sea. They kept us quite busy.
And what was the temperature like when you went to the pool, for example?
It was high 70s, low 80s.
Oh.
So nice to get a little taste of that during these frigid.
Well, today, I was out on my scooter, and I looked at my watch, and it says -6 feels like -14. So the feels like with the wind, and it's like, oh my God, I have to get someplace warm soon.
Yeah, so it's currently like 30 degrees here, which is just below freezing. I know we do different temperatures, but bottom line, it's freaking cold, right?
It's effing cold. It's effing cold. So you were on the ship. So did your cabin have a balcony?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what time did you arrive on the ship?
So we arrived around 11 a.m.
Okay, so you were, so you just dropped your bags and headed to the buffet? What happened?
Yeah, we actually were advised to avoid the buffet because apparently that's where everybody goes. So our first meal was at the main dining room called Summer Palace, and it was such a nice meal. We just relaxed. Basically, you have to eat and occupy yourself until they deliver your bags to your stateroom. So we were allowed on the boat, but they deliver your bags to your room later. So we weren't able to access our cabin just yet or unpack or anything. So we were just having we had some Prosecco, we had some appetizers, we had lunch, they had delicious soups.
And that's all free?
It's all free, all complimentary. Yeah.
Oh my God, I have to do this. So next time I'm going to come with you on a cruise, okay? I'll have my own. I'll have my own cabin, but I definitely want to go on a cruise because I don't know anybody that wants to go on a cruise. I want to go on a cruise because I have one boat experience, which I will talk about at the end of the podcast. But so you had this wonderful lunch, and then you were able to go back to your cabin, and then you dinner. Was it the buffet or the restaurant sit down again?
Let's see. The first night, what did we do on that very first night? I think we went back. So they have two main dining rooms. Oh, the first night we went to, they have like an Irish pub, O'Sheehan's. That's also it's all complimentary except for the, on Norwegian, they have like these specialty dining restaurants. And we only had one of those specialty dining meals planned because they can get expensive. But we went to the Irish pub for dinner that night. And we had some more drinks. We had...
and the drinks are free?
We had an unlimited drink package for Kim and I. Yes.
Holy
so all
smokes.
Right. And we didn't quite take advantage of that as much as we could have.
I don't think I would get that because I'm not a drinker. I would have the occasional, like over the holidays, I did buy some eggnog and some rum, and I had the occasional eggnog rum, but I don't know. I don't think I think if I would want one drink every now and then, I would pay for it. It's probably cheaper than doing
I agree with you. I agree. This happened to be like a free add-on when we booked our cruise. It was like an incentive.
I see. Okay.
Like book now and you can get unlimited free drinks. So we did take it, but didn't take advantage of it for sure. I think they say you have to drink more than 6 drinks to make it worth it a day.
A night? 6
day,
days, 6 drinks a day?
Yeah.
Good
I mean, we
God,
did order,
I drink 6 drinks a year.
Right. Right. It's not typical for us either. But on vacation, you know, it is a little bit easier than you could imagine because when you wake up, you can order a mimosa or two, and
but when you've had bariatric surgery, I don't know what it is about alcohol and bariatric surgery, but one drink makes you loopy. It makes me loopy anyway.
Absolutely. It's 100% does that for me too. And it's because the alcohol is being absorbed super fast in the small intestine. So
I see.
You do have to be very careful. But on a cruise, you can stretch it out. You know, if you have a mimosa or two in the morning, if you have a pina colada in the afternoon.
I do like mimosa,
but
mimosas make me absolutely raving drunk.
It's that sparkling wine goes right to your head.
But anyway, so the point is with this cruise, and again, you know, with this great book from Jen Stevens, Delay, Don't Deny, here you are on vacation and you're enjoying some amazing, wonderful meals. Did you, have you noticed your taste for foods change? Like, did you, like the thing about buffets for breakfast, by the way, for example, I have way too many scrambled eggs. I don't know what it is about scrambled eggs in a restaurant or in a hotel, what they do or what they add to it, but they're always creamy and delicious. And I don't ever eat cereal. I've never been a cereal person really, but I do love yogurt and fruit. And I still love yogurt and fruit. That's something I'm really happy about. And that's something I'm reading the book from Jen Stevens, Cleanish. And it's mind blowing. And we have lots of great topics to talk about because Jen Stevens is coming back to the podcast.
Yay!
and she's going to talk about her book, Cleanish. And, you know, this, at the moment where, okay, I'm getting off track, but when you think about food on a cruise, you think about the overabundance of gluttony. Like it's just like you see people piling so much food on their plate. And I would say the greatest thing about bariatric surgery and going on a cruise, you can't possibly overeat if you even tried.
No,
you can't.
Definitely could not overeat. And we're food snobs now, right, Wendy? So
yes, actually we are.
Not all of the food was window worthy. So it was fun to go to the buffet and see all of the foods. But I took little bites of everything, but I didn't eat much. No. I noticed that I did eat, like you're saying, the plain yogurt with the fresh fruit. They had a nice granola. They had some fresh, they had fresh jam. They had some honey, things like that. I did eat from the salad bar. But like I took a bite of the pizza that they had. I took a bite. Those scrambled eggs were not good. So I stayed away from that.
Okay. And what about the pancakes? Did they have pancakes?
My son was eating the pancakes. He said they were fair.
Okay.
Really only about half the food. The specialty dining restaurants, the main dining room, the food was excellent, but the buffet was just so food was plentiful, but I really didn't overeat. I think when I came back, I had gained 4.5 pounds. I lost 2 very quickly. So that was just extra weight from processing alcohol and extra carbs. And now I'm just working on the last, 2 pounds, but I didn't, in the past I would have gained 10 to 15. I would have really done a number on my stomach and my whole system. And thankfully the bariatric surgery does keep that in control a little bit.
And that's, and that's wonderful to hear because during the holidays, I must say I really indulged and basically had everything, and I haven't gained any weight at all. I haven't lost any weight, but I haven't gained any weight. And I'm sort of like sort of stuck, but
Yeah,
we can
but what a
talk about
great
that.
feeling,
But
right?
it's a
That you just
great
make
feeling that I
change,
can just like,
right?
okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that and see what happens. And I'm going to scale like, oh, okay, I
Yeah, because
guess.
you don't have to worry about it getting out of control. In the past, we would kind of go off our path during the holiday, and it
Yeah,
would get out of control, and it would
it's
hard to
right.
be reined back in.
Right.
And with the bariatric surgery in combination with fasting, there's it's stress-free, it's guilt-free. You do what you want to do. You were with family. I mean, that's priceless. And then you just kind of get right back to it.
It's really something because I still have a lot of memory about the first couple of years after my bariatric surgery that I was so stressed around holidays and like I don't want to regain any weight, but I do want to indulge and have all these yummy things, and it's now like, okay, so if I just stick to closing my window at 9 p.m. and then open the window again the next day at 2 p.m., I know that my body has been fasting and that is burning what it should be burning, and that there's a lot more about weight maintenance, and that weight maintenance aspect and not having diet brain, the combination, it's very calming.
Hmm.
You know, uh, reading so many self-help books and things like that. I've been reading, just finished reading the book from Michelle Obama, Overcoming. And there's a workbook that comes with it that I got. And, the self-help where you're trying to fix everything in your life. And it basically starts with food and traditions, but the tradition of Christmas for a lot of people, and for myself, it's a really happy time in my family. Like I have wonderful, wonderful family memories of Christmas, but there are a lot of people out there that have horrible memories of Christmas,
Hmm.
and have had horrible relationships with their family, and there's giant fights and people storm out or do
Hmm.
whatever, or it's a lot of stress on both
Hmm.
sides, and not the stress of not worrying about gaining weight during Christmas, and that food is not the centered role of what Christmas means. It's more the activity around it. So
Hmm.
being on Boxing Day, for example, being around my entire family, the 10 of us, and we're all watching my grandnephew Barry, who's turning 7 this year, opening his presents. And that's the joy that of
Hmm.
watching. Christmas is always children for me. And I wish I had the opportunity to have children, but I don't. But at least I have 5 nieces and nephews. And
Hmm.
now I have 2 grand nephews,
Hmm.
little Theodore and Barry. And and that part of Christmas is something that I remind myself all the time about. And I'm always sad when I come home alone and it's done. The day is over.
Hmm.
That part is hard.
That is
Like
hard.
that's hard. Yesterday I cleaned away all of the Christmas decorations in my house and I put them all away in a box, and now it's Valentine's Day. So to the next. But it's always looking forward to having an activity. And sometimes you eat with the activity and
Hmm.
sometimes you don't. But
Hmm.
doing that is amazing. So
I agree.
I just wanted to jump in about community and outreach and support group, and congratulations on your milestone that your Facebook group, the Regain Remedy Facebook group, just hit over 1,000 members. That's huge.
I know, isn't it fantastic? It's so much fun watching this community grow. Most of us have bariatric surgery in common, and we're working on, moving forward with keeping our, healthy weights and just our health in general. And it's so nice to just hear other people's stories. We can support each other. Everybody's doing it their own way. Everyone's that study of one. But it really is rewarding to run a page like that. And yeah, everyone should come on over to the Regain Remedy. And I do these silly 90-second reels every morning, just kind of like spitting out some information or something.
That's the first thing I do when I get up in the morning is I go straight to Instagram and say my very first thing that comes up is your 90-second reel in the car.
In my commute to work, I have to
and
pull over to do it
you
'cause my
always
sister
look
yells at
great
me.
too. You wear makeup, right? When you go to school?
I do wear a little makeup, but if you listen carefully, and especially in the beginning, I'll admit to a filter or two, because we all could use some help, right? Why not?
Oh, why not? I mean, I love lipstick lesbians is what they're called, but
we could all use a filter at 7 a.m. So.
Oh, well, yeah, I filter all the time. Yeah, keep them guessing. You know, here's my filter. It's called hair dye. I'm actually gray, but I keep them guessing.
You should do what makes you happy.
Well, you know, that's it. You know, and I've got my Canadian lumberjack look today, and it's, you know, it's amazing. But the thing about community support and about the Facebook group, and I know that it's been a struggle to get the word out to other bariatric Facebook groups. And there are thousands and thousands of people that have had, millions of people that have had bariatric surgery. And I've said this before in other podcasts that you and I are pioneers in this bariatric world, that we are embracing intermittent fasting because you and I are diet professionals, diet experts. We've been there, done that. Our last and only hope was the bariatric surgery, which worked very well, but still needed tweaking. And the thing about, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about this new course that you're taking, because you're doing so, like when I met you, I thought, oh my God, you could be a doctor. You're so smart. Like I'm the practical, you know, silly, artistic musician, retired musician. And I just, you know, blurt stuff out. And I must admit, I use a lot of ChatGPT to help me with text and whatever. But tell us a little bit about what you're doing and this new program that you're following to help everybody in the bariatric surgery world.
Well, thank you for that compliment. It's not that I'm smart. I just, I have interests like everyone else. So I focus on what lights me up or what interests me. So I found this course that I'm going to be taking over the next year or so. It is self-paced, but it's to become board certified bariatric educator or bariatric counselor. And right now we're studying a lot about obesity and its roots. But the next part of the class is called Food and Culture, and I'm really interested in that part as well. But it's a self-paced class. I'm going to be working with other professionals in the bariatric community, hopefully learning something new. And I'm just dying to know if they're going to mention intermittent fasting at all. And don't you know I'm going to if they don't.
Oh, I was going to say, I would say, Alison, are you going to mention IFing?
I absolutely am. So I'm wondering how, you know, it all lays out in front of me. So obviously I can't tell you right now everything that I'm going to learn and experience, but I'm on the precipice of that journey and I'm so excited. And I'll keep you posted as I move along through the material.
It's so wonderful and so interesting. I mean, there's so many people that sort of remade themselves during the pandemic. I have a friend down in California, Bryn, who basically became a certified practitioner and death doula and did a whole online course on becoming that, using her incredible talent as a musician, but sharing her music with people that really need that music in helping people with dementia or helping people with getting over cancer treatment. Music is really, really important for your emotions and to help to heal. Music is medicine. And like I said, we both of us are both pioneers because we, you know, this famous movie and book from Aubrey Gordon. She has a wonderful, I don't know if you've seen the movie yet, Alison, I told you about the movie, but she's, again, one of these pioneers, and she talks about it in her podcast that so many doctors in the medical industry, when they're talking about losing weight, are using the old-fashioned or talking about the old-fashioned way to lose weight, and the Weight Watchers, count your calories, watch your fat, whatever. And nobody in the bariatric community is talking about intermittent fasting yet. Correct. And just like Jen Stevens, who her first book came out, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it takes a while for people to catch on. And it takes a while for the medical industry to also catch on. Just like with Dr. Jason Fung, who took a long time to convince the diabetic people with diabetes industry to accept
get rid of
what
that notion, right? That you don't have to eat
the only
2 hours.
No, yeah, but also for the when you have diabetes, type 2 diabetes or type 1 diabetes, but type 2 diabetes, that you don't need to treat type 2 diabetes with insulin. It took him a long time to convince the medical industry with all of his research, and just say, no, you don't have to. Just do intermittent fasting to make sure that your pancreas is resting and not constantly working overtime. And putting insulin into your body. And so with intermittent fasting and in the bariatric world, where it is a little bit more complicated with a small window, and that the first thing everybody always says, oh, do you get enough protein in? And because you don't have a big window to eat and you have a small stomach, how do you get enough food into your body and nutrition into your body within this 5 to 8 hour window?
Well, we don't need as much food as we think, first of all. And you can go back to our other episode to, listen more about the intermittent fasting with bariatric surgery. But what shocks me, and I guess I see where they're coming from, because I have to say I was a little shocked when I read Delay, Don't Deny, because I was like, what do you mean fasting? Like, I don't want to be starving again. I already did all those starvation diets. I restricted myself. I don't want to do that. Why are you talking about this? And it was something that I had to wrap my head around and really lean into and trust and understand the science is the key. But I am shocked when I go into some of these bariatric Facebook groups and people are calling me predatory and dangerous. And I'm like, wait a minute, do you eat all through the night while you're sleeping? Are you eating 24/7? Everybody fasts. That's why it's called breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast.
All we're suggesting is that you push it back a couple of hours in the morning and stop eating a couple of hours earlier. We are not asking you to do anything extreme. And the science behind it is just, you can't refute the science. It's just mind-boggling to me. So people just need to keep reading, researching, keep listening, and try it. Try it for 6 to 8 weeks. You tell us how you feel.
Yeah. And
tell us if you're starving. Tell us if your muscles are wasting away. None of that happens. So it's okay to take a deep breath, trust the process. And that's what you and I are trying to spread this, this message that it's not dangerous. It's not crazy. You're fasting overnight anyway. You're just extending it.
And that's, the intermittent fasting, I guess even the word is wrong too. I would say intermittent eating. It's not intermittent fasting. It's intermittent eating.
I would love that.
And I think that's a better way to put people at ease and say, I'm eating between this hour and this hour, and the rest of the time I don't eat. I mean, I must admit that years ago when my niece, she wouldn't eat anything until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She says, oh, I never eat breakfast. I don't like breakfast. And I know a lot of people that don't like breakfast. And there was at one time, there's a famous actor, and he has his own gym, and he works out at a gym in America. I can't remember his name, but he had this whole discussion with, what's his name? Not Dr. Phil, the other guy.
Dr. Oz.
Dr. Oz. He had a whole sort of discussion together with Dr. Oz about yes or no breakfast.
Mm.
before you work out? Do you eat
Mm-hmm.
breakfast before you work out? Do you not eat breakfast before you work out?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a ridiculous conversation. Again, I don't know, maybe it was sponsored by Kellogg. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows?
Probably.
That's a whole other discussion and a whole other podcast, because I have been following for sure this wonderful woman, Vani Hari, who is the public enemy number one of
Food babe.
big food, and she's you can find her on, I call it Twitter, X. It's called The Food Babe, at The Food Babe. And she is an incredible pioneer, again, and an advocate to help teach everybody in America that the big companies that sell food to you in the grocery stores are owned by, a lot of them are owned by cigarette companies, and they're filling their food with garbage. And like the breakfast example, we talked about that before, with Fruit Loops, that they put in red dye number X, Y, and Z, and in Canada the Fruit Loops is completely different, and that it's flavored with actual fruit, and colored with actual fruit, whereas in America there's so many chemicals. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to in the discussion with the book Cleanish from Jen Stevens, that I would say, if anything, if you can't do intermittent fasting, at least embrace whole foods and embrace getting away from snack foods, because snack foods are designed to make you want to eat more of them.
100%. Even if you had a 10-hour eating window, you had 3 meals, and it was all real food, you would see so many health benefits from that.
Yes.
I think we're fooling ourselves. Food doesn't come in a package. I'm not perfect by any means. I try to take my own advice, but food does not come in a package. So buy foods in the perimeter of the store, eat real foods, make sure they're whole, make sure, you put them together the way you want to. And then the other thing is get rid of all the sugary coffees and the lattes and the things that we're sipping on all day long. That's really not serving you. But
No, exactly. Like I just see it all the time as give your pancreas a rest. Just
absolutely.
give your pancreas a rest. And eating whole foods, or eating foods that are delicious, like you said when you went on the cruise, I prefer to go into the dining room where the food was a better quality than going into the buffet, all you can eat buffet. I like the idea of sitting at a table and being served, for sure. The waiters came to your table, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Here's a small public service announcement. If you're enjoying the Finding Wendy podcast, I'd love your support. Producing these episodes does cost money, and I cover the $75 monthly expenses for software and tools out of my own pocket. If you'd like to help me keep this podcast going, any donation would mean the world to me. You can find the PayPal link in the description of this podcast, as well as the QR code. Thank you for being a part of the Finding Wendy community and supporting our quest together to stay on track and keep on being healthy. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program. So I just wanted to jump a bit to, there's a quote from Dr. Mark Hyman. Talk about that you wanted to talk about the power of healing with food.
Yeah, so the quote is, what you eat has the power to heal or harm, and you get to choose that every day. So we kind of just, really went right off on that tangent and talked about that already. But, think about food quality, think about how you're enjoying your food, how you're making time to eat your food, the mindfulness piece of it, and just incorporate as many whole foods as you can. And the more that you do it, the more your body craves it. And, you can kind of get away from, is that Winnie?
Yeah, that's Winnie, my dog. She's there's somebody in the hallway probably.
Oh, but yeah, you can just, you'll actually obviously have better health, but you'll also be making better choices without as much of a struggle as maybe in the past. So the more you do it, the easier it is for sure.
Yes, for sure. Winnie, shut up, please. I'm on a podcast. That's my kid. Disturbing. And who is Dr. Mark Hyman?
Oh my goodness, you're putting me on the spot. So let me see if I can. You should follow him on Instagram too. Um, I follow a couple of people that are in his same, like he's a doctor, kind of in the same, umbrella as him with the functional health medicine side of it.
Yeah.
But it says that he's a senior medical advisor at the Cleveland Clinic, and he's a proponent of intermittent fasting and whole real foods. And on his own Instagram page, he posts a lot of videos and captions from that Dr. Chatterjee. Have you ever heard of him? So same thing, pioneer in functional health, intermittent fasting. He really does the research and the science for us. So take a look at his Instagram page. It's at Dr. Mark Hyman, Hyman, and learn a little bit more about him. I know Jen Stevens is a fan. I know he is on board with like the Dr. Tim Spector and the Zoe people. So kind of all doing the research for us to kind of take the complicated part out of it and advising us the best that they can with what they know.
Right, right. So let's just, we're going to jump into some other topics as quickly about not forgetting mindfulness during meals and, that sort of thing that we at least I did, we had training mindful eating during the first period of after your bariatric surgery where you're taught, slow down, you can't eat very fast, be mindful about your meals and be mindful about what you're eating, the quality of the eating and how long it takes you to eat. And if you live alone like I do, what I do is I tend to call somebody on FaceTime and I FaceTime with them while I'm eating because that slows me down. With eating, because if you're eating alone in front of the TV, you're shoveling it in at rapid speed and you're not even tasting it. But if you're eating in company, and that's what I really liked about the holidays and liked about Christmas, that you're together with a family, you're listening to other people's conversations or you're taking part in the conversation and you're taking a long time to eat. And growing up in our family, we had very long dinners on the weekend. Like on a Sunday, our dinner would start at 6:30 and it would end at 10:30. Oh, wow. And it because of the conversations that we were having about politics and art and all that sort of thing that happened at our family table. And unfortunately, at the end with dessert came out, a lot of cigarette packages because my entire family smoked. I didn't smoke, but they all smoked. And the moment the cigarettes came out, the conversations got even longer. And so that trying to find a way to be with somebody when you're eating will help slow down and help you with the taste of the food.
I love that suggestion.
Because, for example, the one thing that I used to eat all the time and I don't eat anymore is mac and cheese. Because the mac and cheese I found really boring after a while. It's like I can have 1 or 2 forks of mac and cheese. It's delicious, but by the 3rd fork, it's like, okay, I want something else.
Yeah.
And it's kind of boring. I mean, it's with pasta in general, I don't eat very much pasta anymore. And that's the same with rice. I don't eat very much rice anymore because it's boring. And so I like to have all these different flavors in my mouth all the time. And so, the slowing down and making it more mindful will help with the taste element. And That's my 2 cents on
Yeah,
mindfulness.
no, I agree. Definitely. I think if you spin it as a little bit of a social, social time, social situation, even if you're FaceTiming, or if I'm having dinner with my wife or my boys, we're just chatting and you're taking breaks in between, and I love that suggestion. That's a great
Yeah, because there are
suggestion.
a lot of people out there that live alone, like I do, and
Hmm.
you don't. You have a house full of people,
Hmm.
and so having your meals together. Do you eat every night together?
Yeah, the three of us. So my older son doesn't live with me full time, but
Right.
Brady, Kim, and I, we do have dinner together every night. We're not that great about always sitting at the dining room table.
Oh,
But we try. We try when we can. And I do like the talking about the day and like you're saying, that's when you're really discussing, like things that are fun or things that are more serious, but you're getting messages as a parent across to your kids too. So yeah, I do like that.
it's really interesting because I guess Winnie, be quiet. I guess the really interesting thing. Oh God, this dog. Um, my parents grew up during the Second World War, and for 5 years, especially my mom's family anyway, they were kind of in quarantine for 5 years, right? Because they couldn't go outside,
Hmm.
really, especially at night, because you had, what do you call it? You had to stay inside after a certain curfew.
Hmm.
And so you had to stay inside. So what did you do? You talk, you share stories.
Hmm.
And so my mom's family, at least my mom anyway, she's a talker. She was a talker, and she had lots and lots of stories. And I think I have that gene. I love stories. And so to have these endless stories and conversations at dinner time, which I grew up with my family immigrating, my mom and dad immigrating to Canada in the 50s, we didn't have any other family members. So we had a very great small family unit, and we ate dinner every night together at the same time, 6:30 on the spot. We had dinner, and we had lots and lots of conversations about politics because my mom was very much interested in politics, and my sister, she has a degree in political science, so she's always talking about politics as well, and so to have these conversations is really great. And you can do that at dinner, because at dinner time, you're all together, you're having a nice meal, you're taking your time to eat and taking your time to taste the food you're eating, and you're savoring every bite.
Hmm.
So, if anything, for like a New Year's resolution, maybe
Hmm.
something that people can think about is going back to the old fashioned, when you think about the North American family in the 60s, that they're
Hmm.
all sitting together at the table in the kitchen or the dining room, and they're having a dinner together when mom is in her apron and brings in the food, it's one of those, like, oh God, what's that American artist, name, who did the covers of the magazines?
Oh,
You know what I mean? You know what
yes.
I mean? This typical American scene, of
Like the Norman Rockwell.
that's a word. That's the guy, Norman Rockwell painting. So a
Yes,
Norman
but
Rockwell painting of a
don't
family.
always make the mom do it. Either make the other mom or make the
No, no,
dad
no,
do
no,
it.
no. The two moms, or the two dads,
Hmm.
or the kids,
Just
or
don't take all the
whoever.
pressure on yourself. Share it with your
Share it.
family.
Yeah.
Your kids can cook with you. But I think that's something that is like a small change, but would be really impactful for
Yeah,
sure.
and if you don't eat together, then maybe just like start with, okay, 2 days a week we are eating
Hmm.
together, no matter
Hmm.
what. Two
Hmm.
days a week we are sitting at the table. We're going to put out the plates and the knives and the forks and a tablecloth, and we're going to sit together and have dinner together.
Hmm. That sounds
Sort
perfect.
of like
Hmm.
a year end or a weekend report.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
did you do this week? I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know. But we keeping busy is really important. Staying healthy, moving, but also being creative.
I agree. I agree.
Like reflecting and writing in a journal and things like that, or writing a book.
Yeah, absolutely. You have some fabulous news.
I do.
So share.
Okay. So here we go. Da 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 da. So during the holidays, I finally finished my second children's book that is now available on Amazon. And it's my new children's book, and it's a true story, based on a true story, but it is a true story. And basically, I can just, tell you a little synopsis here in the back of the book. Basically, the book is about, and I'll just read it. Embark on an extraordinary journey with Wendy in her second true story adventure, Wendy's voyage to the moon and Mars, set in the magical summer of 1969. So this captivating tale weaves together history, adventure, and childhood wonder. So from the bustling streets of New York City to the grandeur of the SS Statendom. So that's the ship that I was on in July of 1969, where I reveal unforgettable moments of the journey and stepping aboard this amazing floating city, the thrill of discovering a model kit of the Apollo 11, which I received when we went to, oh my God. We went to, I don't even know if it exists anymore, this restaurant, but we had a banana split. We went to Howard Johnson's restaurant. Does it still exist in America?
I think there are still some Howard Johnsons.
Yeah. So we went to Howard Johnson's. We had a banana split, and I got with my banana split a kit to put together the Apollo 11. Cool. And so the magic of watching the moon landing in the lobby of the ship's lounge. So this trip took place. It started from New York. So we drove from Toronto to New York, and on July 20th, 1969, the first man landed on the moon. Mm-hmm. So for people my age and older, the baby boomers, we have the saying, where were you when the first man landed on the moon? Mm-hmm. And I'd say, well, I was aboard the ship from Holland American Lines, the SS Statendom. We were just leaving port in New York, just passing by the Statue of Liberty when the first man landed on the moon. That was live on the TV in the lounge. But the trip goes on because we also discovered the Mars bar. So my voyage to the moon and Mars, and the Mars bar at the snack bar in the ship was 8 cents. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mars bars were 8 cents in 1969. So this book is basically about my sisters and I searching the ship for change to buy these 8 cents Mars bars at the snack bar, and me putting together this lunar lander as I was babysitting my younger sisters when my older sister and my mom would go out at night to to watch a movie or go to the lounge and watch a show. Mm-hmm. So basically this book is available now on Amazon, Wendy's Voyage to the Moon and Mars.
Let me just tell you that, I don't know if people know this, but my day job is an elementary school teacher. I have read thousands of children's books, and this one is top notch. I was on the edge of my seat waiting to see what the illustrations would hold next, what was going to happen next. And when Wendy had me first read it, the last 3 pages weren't done as far as illustrations, just the text was there. And I was like feeling disappointed, like, let me just see what's happening next. So the illustrations are phenomenal. The story is adorable. I love it. My copy is supposed to arrive today, but I can't wait to share it with all the littles at my school. And you should really pick this up for any child, grandchild, niece or nephew. Read it to them. It is really a cute, adorable story, and based on a true story. And there's history woven through, so you can get some lessons in. Fabulous. Pick it up. Definitely.
It's so much like I said, I'm a fantasy person. I have this great fantasy, and I was talking to my older sister, my older sister and my other sister. I have 3 sisters, and we put together a scrapbook. I forgot about that. And by the way, it's a huge suggestion for you and your sons to create a scrapbook about your cruise. And so we created a scrapbook, but we can't find the scrapbook. I don't know where it went because so many of us have moved over the years.
Right.
And the stuff that was in our house in Daw Mills, we no longer have this house. And I had already moved to Amsterdam when the house was sold. So I don't know where this particular scrapbook is. But I discovered just yesterday that my oldest sister has pictures from this trip. And I'm kind of afraid to see the pictures because, again, this book I wrote on the basis of my memory, a 9-year-old kid. Right. And if I see the pictures and I'm like, oh, that's how it went. Pictures don't lie, you know.
Well,
and
that's good
it's
you
like,
wrote the book first.
Yes, I'm glad I wrote the book first because when I talked to my youngest sister who lives on a boat in Vancouver, I asked her, because she's 3 years younger than me. So I was 9, she was 6. And I said, do you remember anything about that trip? And she says, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember the Mars bars. I think, oh, thank God. Yeah, so that part's right. And I said, do you remember the moon landing thing? Yeah, sort of, kind of. And then she said, I remember just running around the ship. And that's the thing that's so neat because my parents were not helicopter parents. They were just like, do whatever you like. And so that I write about in the ship, in this book as well, about how my mom would just say, okay, go and discover the ship. You know, where can we go? You know, and so I have a lot more stories, but this was a big, significant story. I actually am going to contact NASA and tell them about this book because I think it's a great book to share for so many people because of the space program and. For example, our own Canadian astronaut also wrote a children's book about how he dreamed about becoming an astronaut while he was at his parents' cottage in Northern Ontario, and so I can highly recommend to anybody out there if you have some significant major childhood memory that's really positive and you think it'd be a great story, write it. And self-publish it on Amazon because just like you self-published your Regain Remedy book, which is available on Amazon, I highly recommend. And reading apparently is books are coming back in fashion. I mean, I guess we can thank TikTok for that because of book talk, because so many young people are discovering books through TikTok. And maybe I have to go back on TikTok and promote this book on TikTok. I don't know. But I mean, TikTok is more for teenagers. This book is not for teenagers. This book is for young people.
No, but there's lots of moms on there and they want to share interesting stories with their kids. So definitely.
Yeah. I know that it's out there and available, and there are millions and millions of children's books and millions of, like another great children's book that I absolutely love by Dan Brown. Dan Brown is the same Dan Brown that wrote the Da Vinci Code, is also an amazing musician and composer, and he wrote this children's book, Wild Symphony, about all these animals that play musical instruments, and every page is accompanied by an app that plays music. So it's
sounds amazing.
It's a beautiful book, but it's my second book because my first book was Wendy Rides an Elephant. This is also a true story about me riding an elephant. So I now have 2 books and more to come. Maybe I'll. Yeah, it's just, I'm really happy. It feels like I've accomplished something, if you think about producing something physical, like you don't produce anything physical when you lose weight or retain or maintain your weight, but it's good to be creative. Artistic and creativity is really important to anybody's life, right?
I agree. Absolutely.
So, do you have anything more to share about your book or any what's coming up?
Oh boy, I don't know. I'm just going to continue with my classes, my courses, so I can have this specialty background, and I'm looking forward to just a nice, peaceful, joyful 2025.
2025. My mom was born in 1926. So she would have been 99 years old this year.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a weird thought to think about. 100 years ago, it was 1925. And they were just, 5 years away from the Great Depression. And like, what was the world like back then? It certainly wasn't full of obese people. And that is because people ate whole foods, and they didn't eat very much because a lot of people were very, very poor and couldn't afford to eat. So, somehow food is the central part of our life. One thing I just wanted to talk about just quickly. I received some treats at Christmas. My sister, my older sister, was in Europe for 3 months, and she brought back some treats for Christmas. And they have a new Nutri-Score system on their food products in Europe, in Spain and Italy and Holland, the Netherlands and Germany. When you buy a product, it has like a 1 to A, B, C, D kind of logo on it.
I'm going to try to show it.
and I'll, it's out of focus.
It won't.
Yeah.
Nope, it won't show you. You can kind of see it there, but.
Yeah. I'll put a picture in the video, but, and it's really interesting because people are in a rush, right? We were all taught to slow down and read the ingredients on the packaging before you buy something. And they came up with this system. It's called the Nutri-Score or something, Nutri-Grade system in Europe, where it's A, B, C, D. A is it's a healthy product. D or E, I think it goes A, B, C, D, E. How many you have the thing in there? A, B, C, D, E.
It goes A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah. So E is not so healthy. So it's sort of helpful because for years, and I discovered that myself because I lived in Amsterdam for 20 years, obesity is becoming more common in Europe now than it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, there was no such thing as obesity in Europe anyway, because most European people eat whole foods. And if they are packaged foods, they're very regulated by the government. The American government has been asleep at the wheel for the last 50 years. And they just basically, the lobbyists have taken over the American government, and the lobbyists for the big cigarette companies, the big companies like Kellogg's, they just basically said, no, let's fill our food up with chemicals and everybody will make lots of money. And because of that, North Americans have become very unhealthy because of all the processed food and the packaging. And so this Nutri-Grade system, it would be wonderful if something like that would come here to North America as well to help people who are in a rush or just, if you just see a color chart on your food product, you're more likely to choose the A than the E instead of reading all the garbly goop and all the chemicals that are in the ingredients list. You don't know anymore. Like even today, if I go and read a product and I'm like, is this healthy? Is this not healthy? I don't know.
Right. But that's why we should stay away from the package where we don't even need the true score, right? Because if you just get the apple or the green pepper, you don't have to worry as much. But it is going to be very helpful, and I'm sure it will change the way that hopefully companies decide on what chemicals and things they're going to add to their food.
That's right. That's right. I mean, but it's still, to be honest and to be realistic, 90% of North Americans eat packaged foods. And so if there's a code on the package that says A or E, you're going to choose the A. And helpfully 100 years from now, people will be healthier because of what Europe is doing. And and hopefully people that, like this huge advocate, what's her name, who is the food babe.
The food babe. I don't know
the food babe. Her name's Vanna Harry, but the food babe, her and what she's doing and waking up everybody about breakfast cereal that, like, for years I eat yogurt and fruit for breakfast. I don't eat breakfast cereal at all, ever.
Mm.
Do you?
I do not. No.
No.
Nope. Has no place in my diet. No.
But the breakfast cereal aisle is still an entire aisle here in Canada too.
Absolutely.
It's an entire aisle of sugar and chemicals.
And that's a successful marketing campaign is what that is.
It's called
pervasive.
lobbying the American government and the Food and Drug Administration to allow these products to be on the shelves. So, yeah. Anyways, I think that we're wrapping up here. What do you think?
Yes, I think we're just about out of time, but I'm looking forward to our future episodes. We have a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the book Cleanish with Jen Stevens. I highly recommend you get yourself a copy because it also, it's not necessarily just about intermittent fasting. It's exactly that topic where we have to learn how to eat cleaner with whole foods and be more mindful about
not just food too, things that we bring into our house, detergents, cleaning products, clothes that you wear, all of it. And it's no one expects perfection or wants you to do something their way, but it's just about being clean-ish and improving the likelihood that you'll have a long, healthy life.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's been amazing. And thank you so much for joining me again today, Alison. And I hope that everybody enjoyed it. And if you're brand new to intermittent fasting and you're a bariatric person, you've had bariatric surgery and you're just starting intermittent fasting, let us know or let Alison know and join her group and say, would you like to be on our podcast and can we talk to you about your experiences of intermittent fasting and how you're enjoying it so far as a bariatric person? Because, you know, it's just you and me talking about it but we want to hear other people talk about it too, because it's, again, in the bariatric community, it's still a bit like, oh, no, I can't do that. No, I'm not going to do that. No, that's too far.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I would love to have some people from the Regain Remedy group join us.
Yes, I think so. I think that would be great. So if anybody out there has no problem with talking and being on, you know, some people are shy and they don't really want to be on TV or on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, just let us know and then tell us, because the more we talk about it and the more we show, like I've now been more than 4 months intermittent fasting. And although I lost about 20 pounds in total, the main thing for me is the fact that I haven't gained any weight. That is for me huge. And I can eat whatever I want. But I'm trying to eat whole foods, healthy foods, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so this is it for today, and we'll let everybody know when Jen Stevens is going to join us for the next podcast, podcast number 18. This was number 17. I can't believe it. And we will see you next time. So thanks so much for joining me today, Alison, and keep on being healthy and just have a great 2025, right?
Thank you. You too. Thank you for having me. And yes, Happy New Year. Happy 2025.
Happy New Year, everybody.